What's up guys, greetings. Figured I'd do a quick video since it's been a minute. I want to talk about what the biggest lie being pushed to this day in Tai Chi and maybe other internal martial arts is. And it's the idea that you can't work out, train with weights, do like body weight things like that, and be a good Tai Chi player. You know, there's a big misconception of like how this came about in the park Tai Chi versus combat Tai Chi, You gotta remember when, what was it, back in, I don't even want to say it because I get in trouble, but historically there was an event in China where, martial arts were kind of being pushed away and they allowed Tai Chi to come back because they use it as medicine, okay? So, in those days, people's lives were really hard, okay? Like, just to eat was a workout, okay? You have to work in a rice field or carrying, like, vegetables up a mountain, or like just the life was harder. So these people, they were having workout injuries, okay? People, because it's not only just physiological, your organs get messed up from having like muscles that are too tight, from bad posture, not sleeping correctly, stress. So, they use the yin side of Tai Chi to heal these people. And over generations and generations, this idea of, oh, you can't, don't do any working out, because the people that they originally were trying to heal were already jacked, okay? The muscles were like super tight, they were all hypertonic, okay? Like all kinds of muscular issues, skeletal issues, they have blood issues. And so obviously, yeah, you want to reduce their stress, you want to like help them like open up the joints and yada yada yada. But most of you guys are sedentary, you're just sitting there doing nothing on a computer, you're overweight or you're underweight, so this doesn't make sense. Now, from fighting perspective, they'll give you this excuse that, oh, well, the muscles, if they're too tight, then you can't, sung, and it's nonsense, okay? They're not taking the time to understand how the muscle systems work and how muscles are innervated, meaning how your nervous system turns the muscles on and off, and what order they turn them on and off. And I've gone over this in other videos. You have type 1 fiber, type 2, type 2A, okay? There's arguments about how many types of muscle fibers. You have slow twitch, medium twitch, fast twitch, okay? And generally what they're saying is like, if you do heavy weightlifting, you won't be able to do good Tai Chi. Well, how many people who do Tai Chi for years can't deal with people who are weightlifters, okay? So your arguments like goes out the window. And what happens when you get to a position where your Tai Chi's failing, you have nothing else to fall back on, okay? Then you go into the idea of common life. You have to be able to carry your groceries, okay? So as a standard, and I like to say this as a standard, I don't care how old you are, you need to be able to do 20 push-ups, okay? 20 strict push-ups. I don't care what age you're at. If you can't drop and give me 20 at any time of the day, no matter how tired, you're not in just average shape for a human to survive life, okay? And if Tai Chi isn't helping you do 20 squats and 20 push-ups, then you better start doing them, because that's what you're gonna be doing in real life. So, it has its benefits for its stabilization, but there's no reason you can't do push-ups, sit-ups, even lift weights. The problem comes when you don't understand that muscles aren't just one muscle system. You have different gears in the car. You need to understand what the muscles do and how to activate them in the correct sequence, okay? So, I'm probably gonna do another video to show you guys how to do proper push-ups, sit-ups, squats, like body weight exercises, because it's non-existent in the Tai Chi world, and that's not good. Okay. Now I'm not saying, listen, most people, if you get into one confrontation, that's a big deal, right? A lot of us aren't that lucky, but just to deal with your regular life activities, you need some basic strength that you don't have, that the people who originally Tai Chi medically was meant to do were way stronger than us, okay? So you have to go to the gym or do something to get yourself to the point where you can basically sustain yourself if the system was to crash and you had to go farm your own little land, okay? That's like, reality, and you guys aren't living it. Yeah, okay, so I guess maybe I should just do the video here, but I don't know if I should make it this short, whatever. I don't really have a plan for you guys anymore. You know how it is, I just talk to you. But yeah, I mean, like, let's give some examples, I guess. Like, what would be good? I mean, well, for fighting, for instance, right? The people who say, oh, you can't have any muscles, you can't be tight, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's great. What happens when you're in a position where you need to go to that other side, and you need to just grab something, tear it off someone? Okay, it's you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and it's stupid. Okay, it's really stupid. And honestly, none of these people that do the super light body, and I call it dying a yin death. Okay, you're double light, and you become frail and weak, and you walk slow, and you can't move, and then you complain that your legs are tired, and then everyone around you does the same thing. Okay, it's not okay. It's an excuse to be lazy and not do stuff you don't like. That's really what it is. But let's just say you have two people who are at equal level of skill in a push hands competition. Okay, they're literally equal level skill. One of them, and they can even weigh the same, but one of them has actual toned muscle that can do work, and the other one is pretty much atrophied and just blubber nothing. Do you really think when they both have the same level of skill that the one who didn't lift weights or do push-ups is going to win? It's not going to happen. And especially if the person with the muscle understands how to fire them in sequence. Let me explain this. Generally, what tends to happen is people will fire out of sequence, so they'll start to use the slow twitch muscle first. And the real secret to all this fadjing and all this stuff and why the loose energy cuts, and you say, oh, it's the fascia. It's not the fascia. Fast twitch muscle, the sine wave is fast. Slow twitch muscle, the sine wave is slow. So what happens is this wave, like a sharp knife, gets cut by the thinner wave. That's what's happening when you're dealing with the innervation of muscle fiber, right? Everything is a waveform. If you take the taiji symbol and you turn it to the side and you break it apart, you have a sine wave inside. Okay? You get what I'm saying? So what's happening is when I'm firing my muscles, I'm firing the expansion reflex of the fascia, right? Which is really, if you want to know the truth, it's actually the bone marrow. This idea of fascia, these people that are saying this don't really understand what the myofascial system does. Okay? You cannot link to the fascia and move the fascia. It's just nonsense. Okay? And I sat in Tom Meyer's course for 4 days. So, these people will talk about the fascia. I was there. Okay? It doesn't work like that. You're pushing from the bone marrow, okay? And relaxing the joints, all that stuff, and basically you're creating a stretch reflex. Fine. Now I'm going to start firing muscles, but I'm going to start firing them in the opposite order, where it's going to be fast twitch to slow twitch. Okay? And the reason why is I don't want to be starting off with the slow twitch and filling up my gap, and then everything's stuck pulling me back or putting on, and you get that shaking effect, and you can see your hands start to shake. That's not good. Okay? So if you can learn how to use the muscles in order, fast twitch and then the slow twitch to push it through, you don't have that problem when you're dealing with someone who has more sung. Okay? Who's more sung? Who's more relaxed? That doesn't happen. Okay? And this is why you'll see problems with people who are at a really high skill level and they both have the same amount of sung. What are they going to do? They can resort to Li, right? They can because you have to, in order to accomplish an outcome. Because now we're talking about butting heads, right? Because even the game of push hands is butting heads. No matter how soft and how much bullshit you are on your little freaking push hands meets, you're still going against the principle of Tai Chi by having a competition. Okay? Because as soon as you do that, now it's you versus the other person for an outcome. You're not in the flow. It's all about the outcome goal. And at that point, you will revert to muscular strength. When two people who have internal awareness are at equal footing, the only thing left is muscle. The only thing left is who's going to have more stabilizing muscles. Okay? And you can see, let me tell you something. Doing the form slow with an extended contraction is an isometric exercise. This is calisthenics. Okay? The only problem is that you're only training one function of the muscles. So the idea of saying that you can't train weights in this, and it's just really misunderstanding body mechanics, kinesiology, and anatomy. It's a big misunderstanding. All right? And I've purposely gone from being 225 pounds at 4%, ripped as shit, dropping 20 pounds and letting myself get fat just to prove the point that I can do this at any body weight. Okay? Like, I actually was like, I'll show you. Okay? It doesn't make a difference. Like, there's no difference. Having dense muscle is not the same as having hypertonic muscle. And that's the problem. Having muscle that gets stuck in the arm position, okay, where you have like a cramp, for instance, right, and it's stuck. Most people are walking around with muscles that are cramped chronically and don't even realize it. Okay? So the idea is not how dense your muscle is or how much muscle you have, is the muscle always in a turned on position? Because if that's the case, then I can grab onto that tension and use it as a way, like the telephone game. Remember when you have a can and a string and the other can, and they pull the rope real tight? I can now send a current, a wave through that tight rope. That's what's happening in the muscle fiber. When you'll see me, like I'll get some, random player who thinks they're good, and I'll just grab them and I'm linking on to whatever line is stuck on their body, right? But it has nothing to do with them being muscular or not. It has to do with hypertonic, okay, or stuck on position, where muscle is stuck on. It could be tendons, it could be fibers, whatever it is. So the only issue is learning how to turn it off and turn it on at your request and your command. Not having dense muscle, but having tense muscle. Say it again. It's okay to have dense muscle. It's not okay to have tense muscle. Make sense? Now, tension is also relative. So I'm not just saying, because you could say, well, the muscle's dense and hard, I'm not even flexing, so it must be tense. And that's a relative thing, okay? We're talking about when the origin and insertion of a muscle line is linked and the fibers are crushing together, that allows you to link onto them. So I can have a crap ton of muscle here, but the origin and insertions are not active, right? So they can't link through my bone marrow and transfer that vibration through. That's all it is, okay? Now, when people say the fascia this, the fascia that, fascia is just like the skin of a hot dog, okay? They're overdoing it. It's a catchphrase. They need to stop. Everybody needs to stop saying the word fucking fascia. Just stop doing it, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and there's nothing in that in classics that says anything about fascia at all. And I want someone to show me in the classics where they're talking about using fascia. It doesn't happen, okay? Talking about bone marrow and sinews or ligaments and tendon, okay? Not the skin around the ligament and tendon. So this misconception has to stop, okay? It's people are wanting to sound smart, or they're trying to apply a concept to something they don't really understand, all right? But I would say, that I don't care what age you are, your goal is to get to 20 push-ups, unless you are already to a point where you're having major dysfunction in the body and you have other problems that won't allow you to even train to that. All right? You could start with regressions on your knees. You could do 1 push-up a day and increase it every couple of weeks. Your goal is to be able to just stop and do 20 push-ups at any time. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You're gonna have to. What if you're in a position where you need to lift a box off of a child? That you're in a grocery store and a huge 30, 40 pound box is coming off the shelf and it's coming at you fast, and you need to push it, and you need to not just be able to hold it with your frame. You need to actually use muscle and push it. Okay? You have to be able to use your body, right? So people who do hard style push hands, I'm sorry to tell you, you're doing calisthenics. Okay? You're using body weight and apparatus. So if I'm doing hard style, like how William Chen's team will do, or Chen style will do, and they're actually going after each other, you're doing weightlifting. You're taking someone's body at you, you're loading the weight on your bones and your muscle, and you're resisting it. All right? Even if you're playing relaxed, you're not really relaxed, because your frame and your stabilizers are super active. Okay? When you're doing the form and you're doing relaxed and slow, the reason why it feels as your tonic muscle versus phasic muscle. Your tonic muscle, which is your postural muscles, the muscles that hold you standing up, are hyperactive, but you don't really feel them. The same way you don't feel fascia. Okay? You don't control them consciously. You control them. Proprioceptive is dictated by distal points. Basically, you're controlling them by the edges of your bones. Okay? If I want to move I'll move my finger. I'm really my bone marrow is what's moving. Piezoelectronic. Because one thing, it's creating like a magnetic field that allows my mind to tell my bone to move. It's really the bone marrow. Okay? So that's really what you're trying to deal with. I hope this little rant's making sense, but yeah, it's a little difficult. I don't have people here to throw around or to ask questions. But if you guys have questions or comments, in the comments, and I'll get to you. As always. But yeah, don't be afraid to work out. Okay? But you have to have a standard of what is functional for a human being. 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and 20 squats. But I don't. If you're ever going to do a sit-up, you don't ever want to have your feet linked down. Okay, if your feet are on the ground, you want to actually be pulling with your heel, so you activate your hamstring. Okay, so that's why I don't really like to say do sit-ups, because there's a very specific, proper way to do a sit-up without engaging your hip flexors. So sit-ups are really bad for those people. But you know, that's why I said in the beginning of the video, just do 20 push-ups, 20 squats, because those are really simple functional things that you're gonna have to do in real life all the time. And if you're not in good enough shape to say drop and give me 20, something's wrong. All right. Any questions, comments? You know, hit me up in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Peace.